They say not to speak ill of the dead. The problem is I don't know who they is, and I can the kangaroo from Horton, so I'm going to be speaking so much ill. Last year, I went over some pilots to released shows, but all cartoons are that lucky. Sometimes a pilot comes out, but no show follows. That's what I want to cover this time. The cartoons that never were. Pilots that couldn't get off the ground. Canceled cartoons are interesting. Both so we can ponder what could have been, and because they're impossible to Google, because if you look up canceled cartoons, you'll just get people complaining about Teen Titans and Spectacular Spider-Man. I don't want that. I want the shows that never made it that far. So join me today as we look into some canceled cartoon pilots. We'll start with something I discussed in the last video. What a cartoon. If you don't remember, this was an anthology series that was also started building up point for some of CN's biggest shows, like Powerpuff Girls and Courage. For a few that didn't make it, we start with a show that was really popular on my Discord server, so join. Mina and the Count. It's basically a calmer grim adventures about a vampire who becomes friends with a young girl. His name is Robert Zetti, who later made Teenage Real Lab. The show has 6 shorts that came from it. The first one being really cute. Like, look at how aggressively Mina pets her cat. It's now how I pet mine. I do think the cat warms up to her maybe a bit too quickly, but it's really cute, and a funny short. The other ones are a really nice little look at various playdates the two have, slowly building up a set of other characters. Count's friends, his assistant, a school bully, Mina's dad, who's one point in a silhouette and holding a pipe. Get out of my head. It's really cute and fun series that I wish got more love. I should note that Mark Hamill voices the Count. I genuinely did not realize that it was him at first. He has a very different voice than normal. Also, Mina's a fan influencer smurf. We gotta cancel Mina. Let's continue on with What a Cartoon with Larry and Steve. This is a series about an intelligent dog who is adopted by the only person who can understand him, an idiot named Steve.
Well, at least the bed's okay.
This has a pretty solid setup, and pretty good writing too. It's actually pretty funny. I think a few changes though could be made to make the show really special. Steve's face, for example, looks really off with the super puffed up cheeks. I think it would be better if his face was overall smaller. Maybe if had him up to better fit with a smaller face. Larry's general character works well, but I think everyone should understand him instead of just Steve being able to. I try to have him achieve more than just a smarter owner, like him becoming a writer or something. Maybe give him a toddler to talk to. Actually, yeah, also give Steve more people to bounce off as well, like wife and kids. Maybe a few friends. Really just make him a whole family guy. Also, I think just randomly stop a show and do little skits, and this pilot, an old man, should be on watch lists. Who made this? It was made by some guy named Seth MacFarlane, apparently. I don't know anything about this guy, but I feel like if you tweak this show a bit, this could easily be a hit, and run for 25 plus years. While not a household name, Ralph Bakshi probably should be. One of the biggest animators of the 80s and 90s. He made a lot of envelope-pushing animation, like Fritz the Cat, Cool World, and one Hobbit film that inspired that one episode of Funny Friends. He also got a chance to make something more for kids, though, with Malcolm and Melvin. This is a show about a down-and-out loser named Melvin. He's a clown that character who constantly gets harassed by a gritty superhero with pointy ears. This would technically make him Melvin, brother of the Joker. Eventually, during an actual suicide attempt, okay, I think I see why this wasn't picked up, he hears a cockroach named Malcolm who can play the trumpet very well, and they become friends. Bakshi has disowned these shorts due to seeing neutering a lot of what he wanted to do with them, but I like him fine enough. It tells what he excels at. Weird, trippy, always moving animation that always has big grand movements with dramatic angles. With that said, I can see why this wasn't picked up. Since even with the censorship, it's probably too intense for CN. Again, the pretty blatant suicide attempt. Still, a fun pair of shorts that's worth a look. Well, Pigment's looking different. King Crab Space Crustacean is about a small team of space explorers led by a crab. Though really his species means nothing. As you can probably guess from the art style, it was done by some people who worked on Ren and Stimpy. Not the one you're thinking of though, don't worry. This starts with Olimar getting attacked by an alien. Then a cadet leads the crew into the sun and they all nearly die. Also the Olimar guy becomes a hot woman, but he's still Olimar, I think.
Oh, don't fight, you guys! It's me, Zesty! I'm inside here with my alien friend!
I don't know how this works. I don't know if this works better as a single short, but maybe it could be fun. Uncle Gus is a very interesting pitch. Made by Big Nate creator Lincoln Pierce, the show weirdly got a lot of push from various Flash games and other material, despite not becoming a full series. The show revolves around Uncle Gus living with a boy with cheese on his head, and a horse.
Peter, the horse is here.
Also, the horse's name is Flapjack. That activated something in my brain. There's 2 shorts I can find on this show. For one, Gus finds out that his ex, who's a parody of Jane Goodall of all people, is at their local zoo. So he tries to get back with her. Unfortunately, he has no money. So he needs to sneak in with this definitely a racial stereotype. He then fights a gorilla. Maybe Gus thought he can get back with her. He notices that she still has her engagement ring on her. That's just because she couldn't take it off. I was convinced the twist would have been that she married the gorilla. The other short is Flapjack enter a horse race. It's more than confirmed that Flapjack is the only non-normal animal in this entire world. I need his lore. It's a cute series. And again, knowing it's from the creator Big Nate, it probably could have been fun. Then the Loda cartoon's taken off with what's arguably its most iconic show, Kitty Bobo. This is about the title character after he gets a new cell phone. Keep in mind this was made during the time phones were seen as a status symbol instead of the thing you're probably watching this on. So that definitely ages it a bit. But the sheer hatred everyone has for Kitty being obnoxious on his phone and constantly showing it off, that's forever. The art style is really nice and reminds me of Parappa the Rapper. And if we got a full series, we had all three of the main Cartoon Networks with a show featuring Dante Bosco, which makes me point at the screen to my silly bone. My entire skeleton is silly bone. It tickles me almost as much as seeing Shrek. The problem is what a cartoon allowed you to pick what show you want to become a full series. And this was up against K&D this year, so yeah, it stood no chance. Still, a fun pilot, and one of the shows I wish we did get. Cartoon Network wasn't the only one that showed off potential pilots, as Nick also did so with their Oh Yeah cartoon show. Only 3 shows ever became full series for this, being Fairy Godparents, Teenage Robot, and Chalk Zone. But one I found kind of interesting was Tales from the Goose Lady. The series has 2 kids being harassed by a goose so much they miss school. The goose and their wand tell a fairy tale, and then the kids get screwed over somehow. There's not like a message to these. These kids are horrified of the goose and definitely want to avoid her. But her and her really stacked breasts are always there to give them a horrific jump scare of Goldilocks. It's a fine show, but the fairy tales aren't taken to the extreme enough to be funny. It's also pretty similar to Fairy Godparents, like having a magic being come in and help a kid, and the general design of the wand. But it even has one Decimo and Mr. Turner. I feel so bad for these kids, man. They're so scared of this freaking bird, they have a panic attack every single time she's nearby. Makes sense. Again, the foul waterfowl forces them to hear some evil story. I was into this one, because this came after Shrek, so you don't need a fairy tale parody. Not the best, but not the worst. Moving on to some licensed media-based pilots. Battletoads is a show really only touted now for its insane difficulty. But with it being a clear Ninja Turtles knockoff, it's clear that it is designed for a cartoon, even if that went nowhere. Continuing the backstory from the games, Battletoads are thick graphic kids who gain the ability to turn to toads. They always had the most important ability though, being really annoying. From there they team up with a scientist and a princess. The princess wears blue and has blonde hair, speaks to me, and they fight the Dark Queen and her massive forehead. There's not much to say besides, yeah, this is an 80s cartoon. It's very cheesy and cheap, but it has a charm to it. I never missing much when so many other 80s shows have the same vibe. But who knows? Maybe it would have turned out good. Even the pilot's harder to fully sit through than the actual game. There's a ton of anime based on Western media. I made a video on it. But there's really not that many cartoons based off anime. We did almost get one though. When the West tried to adapt Saint Seiya, admittedly I've never seen the series, but the basic premise of Guardians of the Cosmos is pretty easy to grasp. Like every other 80s and 90s cartoon, it's about a group of teens getting magic powers and then fighting a big bad guy. Because he saved his master once, the main guy immediately gets to become the master. Also, in another part of the world, another of the heroes saves a family from a thug who rhymes for some reason.
You might run into some unsavory types with a gun or a knife.
Eventually they all meet. They throw away a car of a helpful taxi driver because they are evil, the world's slowest fight scene, before we find out that this princess was the one who hired the masters to train them in hopes they'll eventually protect her. Why she didn't just have the masters protect her, I'm not sure. Also, she's a goddess, Athena. I like how they all get in this big bench, but this one guy gets a chair of shame. Wait guys, she's immune to the fire because she's a goddess. Guys, wait, stop! They then fight this big gold guy in what's supposed to be a serious fight scene, but I lost it when he threw someone into a wall and left a freaking Wile E. Coyote hole. Princess gets kidnapped. The team fights through Apollo's forces. Apollo's the bad guy, by the way. Also, Athena's brother. You know freaking Greek mythology stuff. You've seen Hercules. Save the princess, and then promises they'll keep the world safe. Guys, I don't want to alarm you, but Apollo won. Weirdly, this is not the only American failed adaptation. Toon Makers also tried to take on Sailor Moon. It's hard not to see this as a wannabe She-Ra, but I think for what it is, it's fun. There's a lot less here than the Guardians. Mostly just the sailors fighting some random monsters, but it's fine. The big thing, the decent portion of this is, what? Live action? Gross! Get those real people away from me! But it's fine. Other information takes them from live action to animated. Yeah, these are product of their time, but honestly, I'm overly curious on how they'd be fully produced. Plastic Man in Apollo Trouble is, of course, a show about DC hero Plastic Man. That's where we got a universe where we got a Plastic Man cartoon before Wonder Woman 1. Plastic Man is a retired villain who wants to go good as a crime fighter. Various eccentricities. The pilot really takes good advantage of Plastic Man's stretchiness and powers, being some really cool and funny moments. The villain is a big water guy who wants to flood the world, and I feel like he was chosen as the villain of this, as he also gets a lot of fun expression moments. It's a pretty fun pilot. I wish I got more, honestly. Pride of the X-Men is a proposed X-Men series that is the greatest accomplishment a show could do. Getting a tie-in game, but non-actual show. We start with the intro, which banger. Almost as good as the actual X-Men intro. I mean that genuinely. We then get some narration from Stan Lee.
Classmates, your friends. You never know which one of them may be a mutant.
That's right. Anyone. This is Kitty Pryde joining the X-Men and go on her first mission to stop Magneto from crashing a meteor into Earth. That seems a little high stakes for a first mission. Wolverine is Australian instead of Canadian, which I guess most people think he is nowadays thanks to Hugh Jackman, so fair. Magneto keeps Lockheed around with him. He's just constantly punting this freaking dragon. It's really funny. Eventually they save the day, and Kitty gets accepted as one of their own. Even Magneto's still out there. It's a pretty good pilot. Doesn't stand out much from the other X-Men cartoon, but it's fun enough. Defenders of Dynatron City is about a nice, quaint little town that is covered in radiation, and all those who live there will inevitably be mutated into horrific abominations. And also Neocortex wants to destroy it all. Pretty standard superhero setup here. A group of heroes get pulled together. Blue Monkey douses them in Pepto-Bismol. Now they fight crime. Also their toolbox is randomly mutated too. I think the most interesting thing about this is that originally, Christopher Walken was going to voice the main villain, but they replaced him. A massive shame. Honestly, I vibe with this. It's a lot more tongue-in-cheek than your normal 80s and 90s cartoon, so I definitely would not mind this. David Kellwagger is a Cartoon Network pilot that's put together primarily by people who work in SpongeBob. You can definitely tell. It really has that SpongeBob vibe. It's about a member of a space crew of dogs, one member who wants to be more than he is. But unfortunately, he's a bit of a fricky wicky and is dumb and stuff like that. Again, the general feel and wacky vibe is very SpongeBob, not to mention that it's just pretty looking, and you see throughout the spaceship. Yeah, it's a fun pilot. I wish I got more of it. I like the big mustache guy. It looks like an evolution of Lorax. We get to another really sad loss with modifiers. This shows us a terrifying future. British people. In a steampunk world, various minions are working under the evil Baron to steal things. Agent C is working undercover to stop it, with the best agent being Agent Zero and her magic backpack Mole. The Art Deco-esque look, combined with the unique steampunk world, really makes this stand out. And there's so much you could do with the setup. The characters seem really fun. There really could have been next answer to Kim Possible if I went through with it. Despite positive reception, it was shot down. And we don't know why. People tend to blame it for being a female-led show, but with Making Fiends and Mighty B coming out shortly after this was shot down, it's unlikely. This is one of the few pilots with the to be continued, and I sadly think it will never be answered. Welcome to Talca Town is cool because there's a buzzing sound in the background of the entire thing. It's based on the Talca Toy trucks, in a world where everything takes place in one of those kids' playmats. And also quite literally everything is alive. How does this house work, by the way? He has a mouth, the car doesn't come out of the mouth. It comes out of the garage door, but like, does he have like a weird pocket dimension stomach? What happens if the car actually enters through the mouth? Explain unfinished pilot for babies! I just feel like this clip could be useful.
Boomer, calm down!
This world feels like a nightmare to live in. Buildings are completely stationary. If something bad happens, like a fire, you gotta hope and pray that someone can save you just in time. Because if not, you gotta stand there and accept your fate. Same with this bridge who has to hold on for dear life or get washed away. It was built with a giant hole in it that's certainly doomed, just can't go on land. Why do they have a bridge, by the way? It's the size of one of the cars, just jump. Why is it suddenly a much larger gap when the cars cross it? Same with the buildings. The cars are bigger than the library's door. What's the point? Second half of the episode is about a drag race between the main cars and the evil bully cars. In a past race, the bullies literally drown a car. Even a year later, he never gets dewatered. Again, this is a horrible world to live in. At least this was funny.
I'm flying! Hey, look at me, I'm flying!
But of course, the good guys win. Because cheaters never prosper. Just, they ignore this was confirmed that they won every major race before this. Farting car. Notably, despite the show being passed, however, the main character Chuck returned to a show called Adventures of Chuck and Friends. A pretty different art style and everything. But hey, at least you got the ride again. If I could make any of these into a full series, I'd probably pick Back to Backspace. It's basically what if Chalkstone was on the internet. Digital creations get erased and sent to backspace, a world full of various creatures who either get rehabilitated or destroyed. The somewhat leader of this world is a fun-loving girl with a mysterious backstory and her two friends. There's that Thomas Sexton from Upfelt Lore causing chaos, and the show has a really cool style of blending mediums throughout it. I really vibe with this one. I recommend watching it. I really hope this might one day get a second chance. The Governor is the most hot dog riding skateboard idea ever. Arnold Schwarzenegger, playing himself, is by day a governor, and by also day, a half-robot crime fighter. Everybody takes out an army of robots by literally giving them the L. This sounds awesome! Why would I cancel this? Oh! Medley Meadows is about an alien who crashes into a primitive planet, and offers to teach the monsters there about technology. They plan on sacrificing him. He escapes with the grass goat, big guy is summoned, big guy dies, alien is now trapped. Epic! Yeah, that seems fun. Gives Wonder Over Yonder vibes. I also like that the alien is done in a completely different style than the rest of the world. It makes it seem a lot more futuristic. It's really cool. 80's Infinite Summer is deceptively simple. The art style is anything I write home about, so I really got a kick out of this one. The little gags, the sudden weirdness in this otherwise normal world. It's like a more grounded regular show. It makes sense, as the creator was a storyboarder on that too. I really like the fun summer vibes this has without being too obviously summer. It's just about being chill and spending time with your friends. Can't wish I got more for this. Sadly, if you're a show with infinite in the title on Cartoon Network, you're sadly finite. Still, banger. Trick Moon was a pilot that I saw a lot of buzz over when it released, even if most people were certain it was going to go nowhere. It went nowhere. Scenes restructuring at the time left it behind, which is sad, because this seems fun. Once there's a noble prince furry, but he was sealed in a crystal, so his siblings needed to protect him and the kingdom. It's simple, but a China pilot that can be taken in a lot of different ways, so I'd be interested in seeing more. Honestly, I did have hope for this at one point, but it's been 5 years. This raccoon guy is voiced by Freddie Benson iCarly. This is getting rejected as a federal crime. Dynamite is a pilot from the one only Butch Hartman for Cartoon Network. Butch making something not for Nick almost feels wrong. But hey, how is it? Well, pilot is only a minute and a half. It's just a basic setup. There's a group of superpowered mice who are mutated by a magic meteor, and they have a main villain who's a cat. It's basically a superhero show with only occasional action, and mostly focused on comedy. And about it before Animal was part of a team. And there are random topical references. So it's Tough Puppy again, just without God in it. The thing that's really notable is that Butch Hartman confirmed that he had a completely different plan for this show, being far more action focused and compared to Thundercats. The network wanted something more comedy focused, and he immediately bowed down. This is notable because in the video discussing Teen Titans Go, Butch said he would have turned down working on Go if it went to him to make it, and he had to make what was originally an action show into a comedy. Butch lied? What? Also, how does a magic meteor only turn one mouse Mexican? How does that work? The Wonderful Wiggets has bat people, which, like, realizing bats are among my favorite animals, so yeah, I'm already sold. Kind of wish the show the wings in the title had all the bats' actual wings all the time, instead of them just being retractable, I guess. But this is a fun short. This is about a family of bats who are on a traveling circus and play, but the youngest accidentally destroys the house of some lizards, while also breaking his sister's leg. So he has to take her role in the play while also not dying. Yeah, this is just really cute. Yeah, I might be my love of bats, but I can see a lot of promise here. Wouldn't be against this being picked up eventually. Mars Safari is about a group of 3 friends on Mars trying to survive whatever they came across. The tone of this show is basically a golden age adult swim show for kids. The laid back yet chaotic tone, the still yet very distinct animation, and like, the main trio is level-headed and deadpan voice of reason who gets ignored, a childish and idiotic one, and a loose cannon, so in over their head, they think they can do anything despite being a massive screw-up, who's voiced by Dana Snyder. Yeah, I guess this explains Chicken Biddle. This would have been fun, I guess, but when you remove the adult part of Adult Swim, why even go into the water? Mushroom in the Forest of the World turns into a frog being eaten. This freaking sucks. Actually, I'm bad with this. I really like to take on the world of small beings, seeing how they have it only in the world made of random scraps and leaves. It's cute. It focuses on a screw-up and a perfectionist friend trying to earn the highest honor in their culture, getting a bird to sing a beautiful song. But their bird sucks at it. They're good at telling poems, though, and that lets them win. I think this is really cute, and wouldn't mind it becoming a full series. But also, it works pretty well as a standalone short. Like, it ends with the main characters achieving their main goals. That's a good way to end it. Heck, the frog even survives. That's poggers. Penguins Behind Bars is a really weird show. It's an adult series about penguins in jail. This was made for Adult Swim, so you'd assume it's a comedy, but no. Every single part of this series is played straight. It's as normal as a crime drama you can get, but everyone is a penguin. Closest to a joke is the really over-the-top death of this one penguin, but said penguin actually dies, so I don't even know if this was a joke. But the prison was tempting fate by having a whole swordfish as food, though. Basically, an innocent woman was hustled into being a getaway driver and is sent to jail, and now she has to survive. It's definitely an interesting short, but it's a little off and doesn't work fully for me. We feel as a species passing on the amazing Screw-On Head. Based on a one-shot comic by Heckboy creator Mike Mignola, this shows alternate history where history was actually awesome. It is able to utilize a decapitated robot head to stop any villain that comes to America, including a zombie trying to summon a demon, and Screw-On Head's ex-girlfriend who's now a vampire. Despite the limited animation, this show looks so striking. Really looking like a comic book came to life. It has a very nonchalant yet very cool style of writing. I'd love to see more of this. How could anything with this line,
Groin's looking out for your behind, Head. You can't keep him at arm's length.
be passed on? Why would you do that?
My name is Edward. I made the Mimic.
Getting rejected with an episode or a short is one thing, but what if you made an entire movie and still got shot down? Shockingly, that was the fate of Party Wagon. The film is about 6 pioneers who stumbled across each other on the Oregon Trail, all who gain a piece of this map to a jewel mine, and reluctantly work together to get there. Being named the Party Wagon due to them always playing songs. You probably put together from the art style, but this was made by Craig Bartlett, the creator of Hey Arnold. It's a pretty fun film. Here's on the fun and epicness of that show, and it's a pretty unique location for a cartoon. It really doesn't feel like a CN show though. That's probably why I got passed off. But hey, at least it was an okay KO. I feel like there's no bigger way to end a video than a full movie, but you'd be surprised what people can pass on. That was weird. Must have been a Pibby. Yeah, I'm gonna explain this one in detail, right? You all know what this is. When the Pibby trailer dropped in October 2021, time just kind of stopped for the animation community. This is all the talk. Everyone was demanding this to be a full series. I do not think it is a stretch to say that the demand for this to become a full series is even more than every single show discussed in this video combined. Even if the creator confirmed that last year it was passed over, the steam from this show never slowed down from fans. And by fans I mean Friday Night Funkin' Modders. But how was the pilot? Well, there's two parts of it. The initial trailer and the full pilot. The trailer gives me a pretty good first impression, showing a Dora-esque show being overtaken by this weird glitchy mess. Before Pibby goes to other shows, teams up with two other characters before a big final showdown. The big thing is, of course, that most of the characters in Darkness Take Over are actual real Warner characters, not stand-ins. Wow, it's so weird to see a company allow such a dark take on their kid-friendly characters, right? I mean, it would be if it was literally any other company. Warner does this all the time, dog. Those dark Hanna-Barbera comics, the Banana Splits movie, Samurai Jack Season 5, all the old Adult Swim shows parroting Hanna-Barbera. For every kid-friendly version of DC, there's a darker adult take. Heck, even after this pilot, we got Fiona and Cake. This isn't that special, honestly. But I do think this trailer works. As a short. Personally, I'm not into this as a full series. But you usually showed us the big final battle. We know who lives and who dies up to that point. And the big twist of, oh look, it's a silly kid show that actually freaked up an evil, has already been shown off. So there's no real big twist going into it. Also, I'm just really tired of that cliche, honestly. Can we still get a violent, edgy crime drama that's like transitions to Sesame Street? Also, like, why even make it real characters? Is it just shock? The Darkness removes everything interesting about them. Maybe if it's not their personalities or abilities, that could be cool, but it seems like they're just generic zombies. Except for George Jetson is a train for some reason. Also, it just feels wrong to see Bugs Bunny like this, honestly. Especially because, let's be real, this is what most people cared about. I aren't seeing any fan homage of the original characters. People only care that we got fricked up versions of classic characters in this. And I do understand. Some of the coolest stuff. It's so terrifying. What makes it scary is that it's characters you actually know. The problem is, again, the old version of classic characters is basically a trope at this point. It takes creepypastas and internet parodies. This isn't special to me. The full pilot I feel like is a missed opportunity. The show instantly starts with the glitches and darkness. Even the intro. What would have been much more interesting and scarier would be to not have anything weird until the darkness shows up. Really throw a wrench into things and come out of nowhere. Heck, have this episode be the second episode. And have the first episode be a completely standard kids show episode with nothing weird in it. To really make the twist hit harder. The rules of this world is weird too. It's implied that Pibby knows she's in a show, like she acknowledges the audience, talks about scenes, and thinks the scary stuff is a Halloween episode, and keeps wanting to end the episode to get on with the next one. But then we get to the credits, and she doesn't know what that means. Like, what's the rules here? And then there's the big reveal this pilot gave us. The Darkness is not a standard simulator like we all were led to believe. In actuality, it's personification of internet culture, and those infected will start spouting memes and emojis. Okay? I can defend this, actually. I think I know what they meant by this. I think it's about one of two things. Either corruption of how shows try so hard to be hip with the kids, it kills them in terms of staying on, and how internet culture takes over classic TV. We're more forgetting to something new, as we see all the time, and the internet is killing TV stations and cable, literally. I think that's a decent idea. It's something I've never seen done before. With that not being the trailer everyone fell in love with, and it in turn also dating itself, ironically enough, even if that's the opposite of the message, but it has promise. I think it's a lot more interesting than the standard view people have of it just being corruption of innocence. But also hearing It's Lit Fam and anything regardless of context is awful. Despite that, I'm sorry, I'm not sold. It feels like things I've seen before, and the dangling keys of classic characters means nothing to me when they're all so in name only. With that said, Warner passing on this is among the stupidest things they've done, and that's a very, very long list. Again, TV is dying. Rick and Morty is nowhere near as respected as it once was, and even Smiling Friends is nowhere near that big of a hit. A success as big as Pibby does not happen often. Instantly 1 million views and a giant and rabid fan base is not something you can overlook. And Warner knows how big this was. The next year, the April Fool's special was all about how the Darkness taking over episodes are random. And then you're getting high and watching Rick and Morty at 2 a.m., not knowing what Pibby is, and then this happens. This isn't something you can just ignore. So while it's not my thing, Pibby being passed is a tragedy. That's only partially because they wanted to use Vegeta. And that was 30, I think, scrap cartoon pilots. It's really cool to see what could have been. And what's as cool as knowing you'll die in 3 months?
The world might seem screwy, but don't rearrange it. I've always relied on the kindness of strangeness.